Everyone loves the idea of Canada, the majestic Rockies, the famously polite locals, and the universal healthcare, which you will have plenty of time to enjoy while waiting 9 hours in the ER because you had a minor stroke looking at your grocery bill. The internet loves to sell you the Canadian dream. But today, we are giving you the Canadian reality. That number on the screen behind me? That is not a down payment on a house. That is roughly the minimum post-tax income you need to survive in Toronto or Vancouver, without crying yourself to sleep on a mattress you found on Facebook Marketplace. Before you pack your bags and move here for the lifestyle, we need to talk about the cover charge.
And as usual, Bo is looking at life entirely through a miserable, color-coded spreadsheet. Welcome to Discover Canada in Style. He is Bo and I am Abby. And yes, Canada is expensive, but let's be brutally honest about what we are actually paying for. If affordability is your top priority, there are certainly smaller inland towns where the cost of living is much lower than in Canada's major cities, where you can buy a 6-bedroom mansion for the price of a Vancouver parking spot. But it's not always about the money. You are moving here for world-class safety and an incredibly diverse culinary scene, and a lifestyle that actually values your well-being. Today we are breaking down the real cost of living in Canada and debating whether the premium price tag is actually worth the premium vibe.
Welcome to Discover Canada in Style, the show where we talk about the stories, places, food, and personalities that make Canada such a fascinating country. From history and culture to cuisine, travel, and a little Canadian humor, if it's part of the Canadian story, we're talking about it here.
Let's start with round one, the entry fee, also known as housing, or the thing taking 60% of your paycheck. If your idea of living in style is having a walk-in closet, I suggest you look outside of British Columbia and Ontario. The average one-bedroom apartment in Toronto is hovering around $2,800 a month. In Vancouver, you are paying $3,000 a month for the privilege of a cozy 500-square-foot box that smells vaguely of someone else's regrets. It is essentially a luxury tax, just to exist indoors. And buying? Forget about it, unless you are arriving with generational wealth or a duffel bag full of unmarked bills. The Canadian real estate market is a VIP club, and the bouncer is currently laughing at your bank statement. You cannot live in style if you are house poor.
Okay, let's put down the pitchforks for a second. Bo, you are talking about renting a premium condo in two of the most desirable, globally recognized cities on Earth and acting shocked that it costs money. You are not just renting drywall, you are renting the city. When you pay that $2,800 in downtown Toronto, you are paying for the fact that you can walk out your front door and have access to Michelin-starred restaurants, world-class theater, and an international airport 20 minutes away. You are paying for a lifestyle where you do not even need to own a car, which, by the way, saves you a fortune. And if you really want space, you go to Calgary, you go to Halifax or Winnipeg. You can still live in incredible style in Canada without paying Toronto prices. You just have to be willing to look at a map.
Fine. Let's assume you found a city where the rent does not require selling a kidney. Let's talk about the daily drain. Because in Canada, we do not just have an economy. We have 3 massive corporations in a trench coat, pretending to be an economy. Let's start with groceries. Thanks to our wonderful grocery monopolies, you will walk into a supermarket to buy basic essentials and leave, feeling like you just funded a private yacht. $20 for a block of cheese, $8 for butter. And do not get me started on our telecom cartel. Canadians pay some of the highest cell phone and internet rates on the entire planet. You are paying $90 a month, just for the data required to check your banking app to see how broke you are. It is a death by 1,000 cuts, and none of those cuts are luxurious.
Again with the doom and gloom. Yes, the grocery monopolies are frustrating, I will give you that. But let's look at the actual quality of what we are consuming. We have incredibly high agricultural and food safety standards here. Compared to south of the border, when you go out to eat, or even when you shop at local markets, the baseline quality of the food, the produce, and the dining experience is exceptionally high. If your version of living in style is eating highly processed garbage just because it is cheap, then sure, Canada is not for you. But part of a luxury lifestyle is health, quality, and community. You pay more at the checkout, but you are investing in a higher standard of living. Plus, Complaining about the price of cheese is practically a national pastime. It builds character.
This brings us to round 3, which is particularly relevant for this channel, the InStyle tax. Let's say you have managed to pay your extortionate rent, and you have survived the grocery aisle without filing for bankruptcy. Now, you actually want to enjoy this massive, beautiful country. Well, I hope you have a trust fund. Domestic travel in Canada is famously one of the most expensive endeavors on earth. It is literally cheaper to fly from Toronto to Paris, drink champagne under the Eiffel Tower, and fly back, than it is to fly from Toronto to Vancouver, just to see your own family. And when you get to a Canadian destination, a standard room in Banff or Whistler during peak season will run you $500 to $800 a night. And that is before you have purchased a $25 hamburger at the lodge. To live in style in Canada means accepting that luxury experiences here are priced for international billionaires, not locals trying to have a nice long weekend. The scenery is free, but the parking pass, the hotel, and the domestic flight will absolutely ruin you.
Okay, first of all, comparing a flight to Europe to the scale of crossing the second largest country on the planet is a little disingenuous. But more importantly, let's talk about what that InStyle tax actually buys you. You are not paying $500 a night for a standard hotel room. You are paying for exclusive access to some of the most pristine, untouched, and spectacular geography in the world. When you book a weekend in the Okanagan Valley or a luxury lodge in Tofino, you are getting an experience that is entirely unique to Canada, a blend of rugged, wild nature with high-end, absolute comfort. Yes, it is a premium price tag, but it is an ultra-premium product. The luxury here is not just about gold leaf menus or flashy cars. It is about space, clean air, exclusivity, and safety. You cannot put a discount sticker on an alpine resort that sits in the middle of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You are paying for the privilege of the environment.
Which brings us to the final verdict. Should you move to Canada in 2026? My answer is simple. Do not move here. If you are chasing a romanticized, maple syrup-coated illusion of a middle-class utopia, the middle class here is exhausted. If you are coming to Canada to live the luxury lifestyle we talk about on this channel, you need to arrive with serious capital or a highly lucrative career. Canada is essentially a very beautiful, very polite VIP lounge with a terrifying cover charge. If you can afford the entry fee, it is a great party. If you cannot, you are going to spend your entire life shivering outside, looking through the window at everyone else having a good time.
And my final verdict is, yes, you absolutely should move here, but you need to be strategic. Throw out the idea that you have to live in downtown Toronto or Vancouver to live in style. Canada is massive, and the luxury of this country is found in its quality of life, its safety, and its culture. If you value peace of mind, incredible diversity, and a society that generally looks out for one another, the premium you pay is an investment in your sanity and your future. Come to Canada, but do your homework. Pick a city that matches your income, and you will find that the Canadian lifestyle is still among the best in the world.
So, there you have it, the unfiltered reality of the Canadian price tag.
We want to hear from you. Who won this debate? Are the world-class cities and the pristine nature worth the cost? Or is Bo right, that the cover charge is just too high? Drop your verdict in the comments below.
And if you want the actual truth about traveling, living, and spending your money in this country, without the tourist brochure fluff, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. We are breaking down the best destinations, the real costs, and how to actually discover Canada in style every single week.
Thanks for joining us on Discover Canada in Style. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to subscribe and join us next time as we continue exploring the stories, culture, and experiences that make Canada such a remarkable place.
I'm Bo Kaufman. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.